Hello everyone. So today we're going to talk about loops in Python, and it is a pretty simple topic and we have also used it previously, but we haven't specifically looked into this topic. So the overview for today's video is we'll have the introduction, then we'll see about while loop, the for loop, and then nested loops. So there are two primitive loops in Python, the while loop and the for loop, and both of them till a certain extent are similar. There are minor changes and minor differences, however. So the while loop is used to execute a set of statements as long as a condition is true. So if you probably do not know the number of iterations and you want to run certain statements uh, whenever the condition is true, then you will be using a while loop. So this is a simple example where you will be checking if the value of I is less than 6 and printing it if it is. It starts with 1, so we'll have 1 printed, then we'll have 2 printed, 3, 4, and 5. So as soon as it reaches 6, this condition will be false, so the statements will not be executed. Now the break statement. So the break statement is used to exit the loop at any point. Now it can happen that inside a loop you have certain conditions where you do not want to uh, complete the loop, or maybe for example if you're searching for a specific value inside a given array maybe, and if you are parsing through the array you're using a loop, and as soon as you get that value you do not have to check the remaining array because you found your value. So such example is when you can use the break statement, so you won't have to run through the whole loop. So in this example, we are trying to check if I is equal to 3, and if it is, then this loop will break. So over here at the initial level, I's value is 1. So 1 is less than 6, the condition is true, 1 will be printed. This if condition does not satisfy, so I equals to I plus 1, I becomes 2, again 2 will be printed, similarly 3 will be printed, and since 3 is equal to 3, the break statement will be executed and we will move out of the loop. So only 1, 2, and 3 will be printed in this case. Now similarly the continue statement. So the continue statement is used to skip the current iteration at any point in the loop. So it can happen so that on certain conditions you just want to skip the current iteration in the loop and you want to carry on. So for example, let's say if you want to print even numbers and you do not want to print the you want to print the even numbers and not the odd numbers. So if you have an array, you'll go through the array and you'll check if it is the odd number, you can just write continue, and if it is the even number, you can write the print statement. So that is one example. Now over here we have the print statement after the if condition. So first I is 0, I's value will be updated to 1. Then it will check this if condition, 1 is not equal to 3, so print statement will be executed, 1 will be printed. Now at 2, again 2 will be printed. Now when the value of I is 3, so 3 will not be printed, 3 will be skipped, because we have a if condition and then a continue statement. So 3 will be skipped and then we'll go to 4. Again 4 will be printed. Similarly 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 1, 2, 4 and 5 will be printed, 3 will be skipped. Now if you write this print statement before the if condition, then it won't matter. So for the continue statement to have any meaning, there needs to be certain number of statements after the continue statement which will be executed if the condition over here is false. So like I said, if the print statement is above, then this loop will act normal and it will be as good as the if condition and the continue statement does not exist, because anyways after the print is happening before and later on is the continue statement at the end. Now the else statement. So the else statement is used to run a set of statements or a set of code once when the loop condition is no longer true. So just like you have if and else, similarly, when you're using a while loop, you can also use a else to run a certain block of code after the while loop is completed. So in this example, we are taking the condition I is less than 6 in the while loop, and as soon as it is not true, this condition, the else statement will be executed and it will print I is no longer less than 6. The for loop. So a for loop is used for iterating over a sequence, that is either a list, a tuple, dictionary, a set, or a string. So if you have a list like this, you can just write for x in fruits and then you can print x. So it will individually print all the items in this list. Now if you want to print each and every character inside a string, you can simply write for x in, and you can write the string over here. In this case we are using banana, and it will individually print all the characters inside the string. The break statement, now we have seen this in the while loop, and it is just the same, exactly the same in the for loop as well. It's used to stop the loop before it has looped through all the items. So you can see this example that as soon as x is equal to banana, the loop will break. So in this case only apple will be printed. Sorry, apple and banana, because the print statement is before this condition. So first apple will be printed, banana will be printed, this if condition will be checked, and because it is true, the break statement will be executed. Now the continue statement, again we have seen this, it's used to skip the current iteration at any point in the loop. So again, the same example, at this point, if the value inside the list is banana, that will be skipped. If not, it will be printed. So apple and cherry will be printed in this case. Now the range function. So the range function is used to loop through a set of code for a specific number of times. So for example, if you write range 6, it means from 0 till 5. So if you're just printing x in the range of 6, then it will print 0 to 5. Similarly, if you want to print, let's say 2 to 5, then you will write for x in range 2, 6. So the first number here is included, whereas the last number is not. So when I'm writing 2, it starts with 2, but when the upper limit is 6, it will end before 6. That is, it will end at 5. It will print 5 and it will get over. Now, if you want to print, let's say from 2 till 29 with an increment of 3. So again, the upper limit is not included. So that's why it'll print from 2 till 29 with an increment of 3. So starting with 2, then 5, 8, 11, 14, and so on. Now again, the else statement. So just like the while loop, else statement here is also executed once the for loop is complete. So once the for loop is completely executed, then the else statement will be executed. The pass statement. So for loop cannot be empty, but if for some reason we have no content in the for loop, then we can use the pass statement to avoid getting an error. Now, in this example, we are writing for x in a list 0, 1, 2, and we are not doing anything. So if you leave this blank, this line as blank, you'll get an error. But you can use the pass statement to avoid getting that error. Now nested loops. So nested loop is a loop inside a loop. The inner loop is executed completely for each iteration of the outer loop. Now this can be a bit tricky, or you might need a few examples to understand this, which we'll be seeing in the code. So in this example, let's say first you are going through the list ADJ. So ADJ has red, big, and tasty, basically the adjectives. And now you are parsing through the list of fruits. So first X will be red, then we have the inner loop. Now Y in fruits. So we'll have print statement and it will be printing red apple, red banana, then red cherry. So this inner loop will be completed and then we'll go back to the outer loop. Now the outer loop will have the next item in the list, which is big, again the inner loop will be executed completely. So it will print big apple, big banana, big cherry. Now again it will go to the outer loop, and the outer loop's next item in the list is tasty. So again the inner loop will be executed completely. So this time tasty apple, tasty banana, and tasty cherry will be printed. So that is how the nested loop works. And yeah, that's it from the presentation. We'll now see the code for all of this. So let us see the code for whatever you have discussed so far, all the loops. So let's start with while loop. Let's say I equals to 1, and we have the while loop while I is less than, you can put less than equal to 5, and then print I. Also I equals to I plus 1. So this will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Even if I remove the less than sign and put 6 here, it will still give the same output because the condition remains the same. So that was the while loop. Now the break statement, let's just copy this. If I equal to 4, break. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 is printed, and as soon as this condition is satisfied, the break statement is executed and the loop is terminated. Now if I put this print statement after the break statement, then only 1, 2, and 3 will be printed. So this is because earlier when I was 4, the print statement was executed first and then the condition was checked. But now since the print statement is after the condition, so first the condition will be checked and there's a break statement inside that condition. So as soon as the condition becomes true, the loop is terminated. So in this case, only 1, 2, and 3 is printed. Now similarly, if I use the continue statement instead of break, now in this case, this is an infinite loop. That is because as soon as the value of I becomes 4, so this condition is true. Now the continue statement is executed, so it will directly go to the while again. So the value of I is not updated. That means I is still 4. So now again it will check the if condition. If condition is true, again continue statement will be executed. It will go back to the condition and so on. So that is why this is an infinite loop. So to avoid this, we update the value of I before using the continue statement. So if I just remove it from here and I put this over here, then the loop will run as we were expecting it to. So now first we have, before printing, we are adding 1 to I. So if you want to start with 1, then you will have 0 over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is skipped, which is as expected because we do not want to print 4 and the continue statement will be executed then. 4 is skipped, and then we have 5 and 6. So that is how the continue statement works. And now let's just try the else statement as well. Else print number has exceeded 6. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 is skipped, and 5 and 6, and then the else statement is executed, which says number has exceeded 6. So that is how the else statement works. Now similarly we have the for loop. Let us take a list. For example, a equals to 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, and now for I in A, print I. So this will print each and every item of the list. Even if I add a string over here, let's say hello, that will be printed as well. So this is how the for loop works. And similarly, now if you want to print each and every character, so for x in hello, print x. So this will print each and every character in hello individually. Now the break statement, let's see, if x equal to L, then we will put a break statement. So in this case, only L is printed. L is printed because we have print statement before the break statement. So before executing this statement, it is first printed. So that is why this is printing H, E, and L. Now similarly, the continue statement, let's say instead of break, if I put continue, so HELLO is printed. So if you remember, I had mentioned in the presentation that after the continue statement, we should have some statements to be executed. If not, it will be as good as non-existent. So because we have a continue statement at the end, it means no matter what, all the other statements in the for loop are executed. And now we are just moving to the next iteration, and even without the continue statement we still would have moved on to the next iteration. That's why this print statement must be written over here to understand how the continue statement is used. So now H, E, and O. So whenever it encounters L, the continue statement is executed and it moves on to the next iteration without moving to the print statement. That's why we just have H, E, and O printed over here. Now the range function. So for I in range of 5, print I. So this will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you want from, let's say, 2 till 4, so this will print 2, 3, and 4. Now if you want to print it with a step of 2, so this will just print 2 and 4. So that is how the range function is used. And again, the else statement, let's see over here, else print number exceeded number greater than equal to 5, or we can just print else statement executed. So 2 and 4, and then the else statement is executed. Now the pass statement. So let's say for I in range 6, pass. So nothing happens over here like we have discussed, but if you remove the pass statement you will get an error. That is why the pass statement is required, so you don't get the error. Now we'll see the nested loop. So for nested loop, let's see, let's take A equals to 1, 2, 3, and 4, and B equals to 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now if you want to print each and every item of A along with each and every item of B, then you can use the nested loop. So let's see, for I in A and for J in B, we will print I comma J. So 1, 5, 1 6 1 7 1 8. Similarly 2 5 2 6 2 7 2 8 3 5 3 6 3 7 3 8, and again with 4. Now this need not be of the same length necessarily. You can also have it of different length. This will print 1 5 1 6 2 5 2 6 3 5 3 6 4 5 and 4 6. So that is how the nested loop works. So that's all from loops, and that's all from this video. So thank you for watching.